Okay. Will eating after 9 p.m. make you put on weight? No, not necessarily. Eating the wrong foods may do. So if you're finding that you are having to eat later on, it's trying to find the foods that aren't sort of going to sit too heavy as you're sort of going to sleep. Because obviously, if we're looking to keep to our sleep pattern of going to sleep at 10:30, we've not got much of a window there. What I'd be looking to get on board is pretty much more your sort of your proteins and your vegetables, because they're the things that are going to be providing the sort of essential nutrients for your body as you go into sleep, as you go into that recovery process. So you might have like a chicken stir fry or something like that, for example, or a chicken salad with lots of vegetables, or even sort of a homemade soup, something that's just going to get some actual beneficial nutrients on board before going to sleep, as opposed to having the late night snacks in front of the TV. Those are the kind of things that we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid the sort of the simple carbohydrates, the things that are just going to be converted into sugars, not needed so much for energy, and then stored into the sort of the fat stores. So try to get the right foods in if you do have to eat late, but no, not necessarily. You're not going to put on weight just because of the time that you eat. Okay, it's getting the right foods in.
So on that topic, guys, again, kind of covering what I was talking about before, is just when we train. Obviously, we have some of our camp members that obviously finish the camps at 9 o'clock. So trying to kind of covering a little bit the question before, trying to kind of get them on board as quick as possible. Get that food into your system again. Massively important to get that kind of protein on board ASAP, really. I mean, generally 10 minutes after you finish your session will be ideal, but up towards kind of half an hour or so. So just putting a general time scale on that, try and getting that on board as quick as possible.
Definitely.
Should you eat more at a particular meal time than others? Ideally, we would eat based on hunger. However, many of us are not turned on to the signals. Again, our body sends them signals to tell us that we're hungry. Again, we kind of lead our lifestyle based around what we're kind of doing. So if we're working, etc., we'll generally ignore them signals if we're heavily into it, and we'll eat for more convenience of when that fits into our diet, our lifestyle. So it's just trying to, again, we're going away from the kind of listen to them signals. Again, your body will just stop sending them signals, or they won't be as prominent in your mind. So just trying to get back to a regular eating plan throughout the day will help that system, and again help your body bring back them signals so that you know when it's coming on board. Again, you already kind of maybe already planned that because you started to get a bit hungry, so you've started to already kind of prepare, or you've already got that food kind of ready for you. Again, we should probably eat them a bit more complex carbs throughout the day, really. It is a bit more important. Again, if we are kind of looking at them complex carbs, have them a bit more during our day, maybe not at night, a bit more kind of obviously protein on that aspect of it, and again taking on board obviously our vegetables and things like that. So again, like we kind of looked at on that, try to spread your meals evenly to aid digestion. So again, not overloading your system all at one point during your day. So this whole 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, doesn't kind of work that great, because you're overloading your system with a lot of food to try and process, again making you feel very, very sluggish afterwards. At 3 massive kind of big points in the day, try to think more about 5 or 6 smaller meals throughout the day, and again what that will do is not kind of stress the systems out, if you like, and again will make you feel a bit better, and the food won't be kind of affecting your day and your energy levels, hopefully keeping you a more kind of steady blood sugar level throughout the day. So again, a lot better for our kind of fat loss side of things.
Cool. I think the only thing I'd add to that is something that I read the other day, which was quite interesting and quite a nice way of looking at it. Whether you're looking at sort of 3 meals a day, whether you're looking at 6 meals a day, try to think with each meal that you're having, could I eat this again in about 3 hours' time? If you think that you couldn't, if you think that'd be too big a meal, you're probably taking too much on board. So if you try to not sort of portion control yourself, but meal control yourself to think, right, if I could eat this amount every few hours, that's probably the right amount for me. Then you'll know that that's a good intake. If you're thinking, no, I've really overeaten there, I'd have to wait a good 4 or 5 hours before I could eat again because of that, then you're taking too much on board. So just use that as a little bit of a guide.
I heard a rumour that too much meat is bad for you. True or false? Again, too much processed meat, of course, can be bad for you. Again, any processed foods that we kind of talk about carry obviously the chemical side of things, the preservatives, all that kind of stuff are carried within that. So that's massively important. We're not only taking the kind of protein board, we're taking on the chemicals, and refer back to questions we've already answered about that in terms of overloading our kind of liver with having to process all them chemicals again through and through. So not the best option. Obviously, like we looked at with the second bit, is the organic meats would be a better option. So if you can get stuff from the most natural source you can, so again, if you're getting it direct from a farm or a butcher, etc., then they're going to be slightly better quality meats than if they're in a supermarket and they've probably been cultivated and again grown on farms, etc., just for mass produce. They're gonna probably have been tinkered with, whether it's the grain that they're eating or whether it's the meat itself pumped with water, etc., etc. There's lots of different things to get that product out to you to make you think that you're getting a kind of good deal on that. I don't know if Nathan wants to.
Yeah, just when you're looking at a lot of your sort of your poultry and your sort of your beef and things like that, a lot of your red meats, what you tend to find is to get them to the shelves, a lot of them are pumped full of hormones, and those hormones are designed to make those animals grow, so there's more to sell you. Okay, so if those hormones are designed to make the animals grow, what effect do you think it's going to have on yourselves as well? Because those hormones are still going to be within those meats. So they're going to be helping to make you grow as well. So ideally, you're going to be wanting to go for sort of your grass-fed sort of organically reared animals whenever you can. Okay. So I'd like to know the difference between all the fats, the sort of cholesterol, saturated and unsaturated. Cholesterol is fat in the blood, isn't it? Or is it related to all saturated fat? This is quite a big topic, so we're going to touch on it briefly now, and we'll probably do an article for you more in depth at a later date. But basically, cholesterol is a natural product that your body makes and needs. We're all kind of scared of cholesterol. We're scared of our cholesterol levels being high, and a lot of that has been really quite sort of hyped up. Because cholesterol on its own being elevated isn't necessarily a massive risk factor for sort of heart disease, things like that. Cholesterol, when it's high, if you've got other risk factors, is something that we can work on to improve your sort of your risk profile, as it were. But cholesterol is part of your body. It's part of your cell walls. Your body naturally produces around about 70% of the cholesterol that's in your body anyway. And you'll often find that your body works on balance. You see this with water. If you bring in a lot of water, your body will get rid of a lot of water. Similar sort of thing happens with cholesterol. If you start trying to cut out lots of foods with cholesterol in, your body will just naturally produce more if it's used to it being at a set level. So it's much more about trying to clean up your whole diet rather than focusing on one little element. It's trying to build health in general rather than focusing on one small area. So cholesterol really isn't sort of as big an enemy as it's made out to be, as long as you're getting the rest of your diet and your lifestyle right. Unsaturated fats are the sort of healthier fats for your body, the more essential fats. Absolutely agree with that. We want to have more unsaturated fats than we do saturated fats. But not all saturated fat is evil. Your body actually does need some saturated fat for health. And you find that some things, like we'll move on to, like coconut oil, are actually quite sort of beneficial for your health, and you actually need to take fat on board to lose fat. Okay, it seems like a strange idea, but if you go low fat on all your foods, low fat on your diet, your body's just going to want to store it and save it rather than use it up, and it'll start looking to other energy stores, like breaking down your muscle, things like that, rather than using up those stores. Don't know if you've got anything to add there.
No, completely covered it on that now.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Okay, so our next question, does eating too many carbs make you put on weight? Well, the simple answer is that yes, they can. But what we've got to kind of look at is that not all carbohydrates are created equal. The main types of carbohydrates you want to get your nutrients from is your vegetables. So not a lot of people actually appreciate those as carbohydrates. They see them almost as different food groups. But your vegetables are carbohydrates, and you can get quite a lot of energy, most of the energy that you need from those. So we don't need as much pasta and bread, all those types of things, rices, as we tend to sort of take on board. What you do tend to find is that if you do take too many sort of simple carbs on, so too many breads, pastas, rices, and you're not using up that energy, it tends to sit on the love handles. So if you find that that's where you tend to store body fat, you tend to find that it's not so much on the sort of the tummy or the legs or the thighs, it's the love handles. Then you're quite sensitive to carbs, so you want to be quite sort of careful with the amounts that you're taking in and when you're taking them in. So your carb timing will help. You're more sensitive to taking on carbohydrates, so more likely to store them in the muscles or the sort of the liver stores for use later on for energy. If you take them on sort of immediately in the morning, because you've woken up from your fast, that's where your breakfast comes from. So your body's crying out for food, it's crying out for nutrients. The other time is straight after training. So again, straight after training, your body's depleted its carbohydrate stores, so it's an optimal state to take them back on board. So your best times are in the morning when we wake up, or your first meal of the day anyway, or straight after training. Another thing that will help is carb cycling. This is quite a big sort of topic, so I'll just touch on it briefly. But basically, carb cycling is having different days where you have either no carbohydrates, low carbohydrates, or normal or high carbohydrates, and you cycle through those days in your week or in your little cycle that you create. And the idea of that is that you never let your body get used to the sort of the low carb state. Again, where we talked about the starvation modes before, if you allow your calories to go too low for too long, your body starts to slow things down. The same thing can happen with your sort of carbohydrate intake. If you're not bringing carbohydrates in for a long time, your body can start to slow processes down to sort of preserve energy. So if you are regularly having sort of what I'd call refeeds, where you're having a higher carb day, but then dropping back down onto your low or no carb days and keep cycling through this process, your body can never really get used to it. So it keeps utilizing your fat stores as energy sources alongside the carbohydrates, rather than restricting calorie usage and energy usage. So you continue to lose weight basically, or you continue to maintain if that's what you're looking to do. Okay.